that stuff you see in chick flicks.
It's what you think of between 14 and about 30.
It's gotten under my skin, it's made me who I am, and it's really figured a lot into my life, whether I mean it to or not.
It's friendship plus lust, kind of.
I don't even think it's deeper. I just think it's, if love is like a bunch of rivers and that one just runs in like a different direction than all the other ones, I think it's the only one that can go away, and it's the only one that can spontaneously appear.
It's not a straight, flat line. Frankly, it'd be boring if it was.
Mary and I got together on March 14th, 2009. We had been together for nearly 6 months when she finally flew out to Portland. It was our first time meeting in person. I remember we woke up one morning and she said, out of the blue, "I want to marry you." It's funny now because at first I was so unsure. You never know if you can be happy with someone for the rest of your life. But what was more important was taking that plunge anyway.
Romantic love is obviously it's a subset of relationships, if you ask me. It is. Because it's nearly impossible to sort of, I think, maintain the ideal of romantic love 24/7.
Unfortunately, there really isn't a place for romantic love in day-to-day life. So you have all these kind of like all that drama that goes on at the very beginning of a relationship that makes it kind of romantic. But it's also very scary and you're not sure it's going to work. So there's lots of pain in romantic love.
Whatever fluttery feeling that you get in the beginning of the relationship, that goes away in about a year's time and is not coming back.
I think everybody has standards. Like, I couldn't be with somebody who doesn't like to be ridiculous with me.
She and I got tattooed engagement rings that look a lot like henna, but less red and brown, more maroon. We got them done at the same time by the same guy, and it hurt, I guess. I know I whined about it. It was actually the second tattoo either of us had gotten. Give or take a year prior, she and I independently got heart tattoos of our own design on different parts of our bodies. I think that says a lot. We are these different people, and even apart, we had this same idea. Now, through this, we were coming together and really getting behind the permanence of our actions.
Well, the big story is, the romantic story, is that Nigel and I met when I was 17 and he was 18, and when we were a freshman in college.
We met on the internet when it was not cool to meet on the internet, like 1997. It was not even cool to use the internet.
I had done everything in my power to get him to see me. I even took a video class that I was horrible at, and we only had, and you don't even want to go there. It was horrible, and I was a terrible student at it, thinking that if I was in a class with him, he would actually see me.
Our relationship was hard because, there was never any really face-to-face contact. That was before, Skype was popular. There was never any, face-to-face contact. Everything was over text. Text on a computer. She doesn't have the same phone plan as me in England, so I couldn't call her or text her ever.
Mary's father, Bruce, is a very conservative man that I originally thought was going to strangle me when we were introduced this spring. Mary was sick, and I was terrified, so she and I weren't exactly on level ground. After I came back to the West Coast, Mary forwarded me a message that he had written to her. It's a tough and changing world. I've seen many changes in my lifetime, and there will be many more. I accept your decision. It's your life and yours to live as you desire. I think Cait is a very nice person, and I wish you both much happiness. With all my love, Dad.
He was bitching about the registrar, and he was bitching about something else. And I said, I think you need some new friends. And I volunteer to be your date. You can date me for 2 weeks. And if it doesn't work out, you can go date someone else. But I think you're whining too much.
I think it lasted we dated twice, so probably overall 2.5 years. And it was really difficult to have that. I mean, because we couldn't even go see each other. That would be ridiculously expensive. So there was just no way it was going to work out.
So we kind of lost each other, Nigel and I, by the time we were 20, and by 1970.
She was much more invested sooner, I think, than I was in all this. I certainly, the story about how she sort of talked me into the whole thing. And to a certain degree, I tried to talk her out of it, saying, you really don't, you don't really know who I am. And I'm not that nice a person. I'm not that good a person. Luckily, neither one of us listened to the other one particularly well.
Mary is over 2,000 miles away. I'll admit that because we are so different, there is a definite disconnect between us. Problems were evident from the beginning. It's hard, and we fight pretty frequently. But doesn't mean there's any less love there. It's absolutely worth taking the hard knocks for, and neither of us have any intention of hurting the other. We are comfortable enough to challenge one another. We are able to forgive one another. We can respect one another. I wouldn't give that up for anything.
Well, it wasn't a bad breakup. I don't know how to say it without sounding insulting. I would never date her again. Even if I lived in England, probably. But I would hang out.
I think one of the things that's really great about our relationship is that we've always been good friends, best friends. And even when things weren't good, we were still best friends.
I had mentioned to him about my friend Nigel, and so that would have been 37 years before this phone call happened. And so he was at the boat yards in Sausalito working on boats, because that was his thing, boats at that point. And he heard someone was called Nigel. And he went up to the person and said, "Are you Nigel? Oh, that's a strange name. Do you know Jane White?" And Nigel went, "Yeah."
We didn't talk for about 4 years. And then one day he called me out of the blue. Like, "Hey, remember me?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You want to go somewhere this weekend?" I'm like, "Okay." We've been inseparable since then.
I think it's a real challenge to grow old together. And the key part is to grow. Most people marry people or they have a relationship and they get together at a certain point in time. And that's what they expect it's going to be. And it's not.
Yeah, it's love.
Oh yeah, it is. It's love.
Even though he's really tired because he has to get up early in the morning, when he turns off his light, he always rolls over and says, "I love you."
That's love. All of a sudden, you can't live without them. They have to be in your life.
I'm not a wonderful person, or a perfect match. Nor am I trying to convince her that I am. Even when it's bad, it'll be okay. Even if we're apart, we can be close in other ways. It's a collision of imperfect beings. It's getting to know each other, growing together, and being invested in the life of another. I've never believed in true love, but it can't be coincidence or divine providence that all of this happened. She's my friend, my lover, and my family. She is my one. From here, the story is far from over. Mary and I have a strange and wonderful future ahead of us, regardless of where we go or how this ends up. Love is love. Whatever happens, it happens for a reason, cosmic or otherwise.